Hey there, Photo Universe. Alright, you're looking at the Vivitar 285. And we know this one's a veteran. This one's been with me for over 10 years. I've shot a lot of weddings with this flash. Very straightforward, not TTL. This one even has a household, you can't get these feet anymore, I don't think. Flash Foot 1, Van Nuys, California. I don't know, this is a great one because it takes household. And I use this up on a light stand for weddings. Really good foot on that. I wish they still made those. If anybody knows where to get the Van Nuys Flash Foot 1, let me know. I could use 2 or 3 more of those. Anyway, so that's a veteran of the wars. And everybody knows when the wedding wars. And everybody knows I did a video on the 285. Love the 285s. But when I was shooting some sports, I was using some fill flash with my Canon. And I did an event 2 years ago of a high school race, kids were running race, track meet kind of a deal, cross country is what it was. And I shot it with a Canon Rebel and the Canon 580EX2, which is this guy here. And then a year later, I shot it with the Pentax with the 285, and you know what? The 285s are great for weddings and things, but it wasn't. I did the job, but it wasn't as good as when I shot it with the Canon 580EX2 on the Canon Rebel, which the keeper rate was a lot higher because the TTL was actually working. Versus this thing here wasn't. I had to adjust too much stuff on the fly too often because the lighting conditions were changing too often. So that kind of was a drag, and it kind of, researching flashes for Pentax for the K5, although I loved the K5, I just kind of got mired in like, well, the people were saying the Metz was better than the Pentax flashes, and I've known from past experience, I've owned some of those Pentax flashes back in the film days. That's how old some of these Pentax flashes are, the TTL ones, and they weren't great. They weren't up to this standard. They weren't modern. I mean, the newest one I think is pretty good. But anyway, everybody was saying the Metz AF, the 58 AF2 was the way to go. And so the other day, I picked up a Metz 58 AF2. And you know what? It took me about 5 minutes to realize that flash rocks. Alright, now I've had Nikon SB, and that'd be this one here. There's the case it comes in, there's the flash unit. Look how small it is. That is a nice flash unit. You got the secondary flash reflector there, but let's get into it, okay? So what's the deal? All right. The user interface, these flashes are pretty complicated. So now look at this. This thing's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons and a wheel. This is the Canon, all right? The user interface on the Canon is not very good. Okay, in order to get into the slave modes, the wireless slave modes on the Canon, I think you hold the select button for like more than 2 seconds or something. Okay, I mean this has 4 buttons, 5 buttons and a wheel. Okay, 6 buttons if you count the pilot switch. Push that and it'll go off, I think. But it's not, but getting into the slave modes, I mean, I've done it before, I've done it quite frequently. I need the manual with this flash to figure out how to do it. Once I do it, then I remember. I mean, if you go 3 weeks without doing it, you forget. Okay? Alright, so compare and contrast. Now, the Nikon isn't like that. The Nikon's less cryptic than that. But you know what? Out of all 3 of them, the SB800, the SB900, the 580EX2, this Metz has 4 buttons, and they're soft buttons. So it tells you what the buttons do depending upon what mode you're in. And you know what? Without the manual, it took me like 2 minutes to get everywhere I wanted to go and know everything I needed to know and do everything I wanted to do. No manual required. Okay, so it's got like 2 little Pac-Man looking icons back here, and that's this flash here and this flash here to get this flash to fire. That's a Metz thing. Now I know that the Pac-Man icons look like that because that I had to look up. I kind of thought it was that, but that's an esoteric thing. I'm talking about like I want to get into wireless flash mode. Okay, right now I hold this button down. I just push that button twice. There's my menu. I scroll with this, and there it was, remote. Select, off, I don't want off, master, slave, master control, set, bingo, done. You know, I mean, the bottom line is people complain that, oh, you got to push a bunch of buttons with the Metz. You know what? If it's intelligently implemented and it's not cryptic and it's clear and simple, this is the best interface I've used on a professional TTL, you know, intelligent smart flash. Is this Metz? It's streets ahead of this. Right now, if I wanted to put this into slave or master mode, I'd have to go get the manual. I think you hold select down. It might be mode though. I think it's you hold select down. This thing has more hard buttons on it and a wheel, and it's cryptic. I don't, you know, this Metz has only 4 buttons, but you know what? The menu system is implemented in such a way that it's just intuitive. It's brilliant. I played with this thing for 10 minutes and I ordered another one. Okay? And this thing, so some of the benefits, you can plug it in to a USB for firmware updates. Okay? This thing, that's brilliant. It takes external power. You can set it, one of the settings in here is so that if you're using a crop camera like the Pentax, instead of reading out 24 to 105, it'll read out 16 to 75 on your zoom on your flash head. That's brilliant. I mean, you know, that's brilliant. For a third-party flash unit, I think that's really cool. I was playing with the wireless flash last night, and it was no problem to set it up and get it to go. So I mean, it just, you know, if I were shooting Canon, or I wouldn't buy any more of those, I'd buy these. That's how good this Metz 58 AF2 is. Now I can't say it's a high value unit because you know what, this is going to be a two-parter. I need to become a YouTube partnership so I can do longer videos. This is getting silly. Alright guys, sorry this is a two-parter, so let me do part 2 and we'll go on to a little bit. There's a few more things I need to say about this. Alright, thanks.